Hey guys, I wanted to chat real quickly about designated dual agency. So I know that a lot of agents have come from firms where they did not practice designated agency, or even if they did, maybe this hasn't come up much in your career. So I wanted to touch on it real quick. I'm uploading a document into Facebook, and we'll also have it in a shared Dropbox folder that I'll be sending out to everyone soon, that talks a little bit more about designated agency, and that's from an update class from a few years back. So go ahead and read that. It'll give you some more clarity as well. But I want to talk to you about a couple things. Number one is in the agency paperwork. So you can see here on the screen, this is in a buyer agency agreement, but it'll be the same thing for listing agreements as well. Our default as a firm, so when you are in Dotloop and you apply a template, the agency agreement is going to default to have the client's initialing here, the top blank, which is the buyer authorizing the firm to act as a dual agent. And they will also be initialing down here the designated agent option. Now, of course, as always, you can certainly change that around. That's just the way that our templates are going to be set up. So here's the thing to remember with designated agency. It is a form of dual agency. So in order for a client to agree to designated agency, they need to first agree to dual agency. So your clients will have to initial one of these first two blanks. Either they agree to dual agency or they do not agree to dual agency. If they do not agree to dual agency, then obviously they cannot purchase, if they're a buyer, a home that's listed by another choice residential agent, or if they're a seller, they cannot sell to a buyer who is represented by a choice residential agent. There are very few cases where this ever should be initialed, and if a client desires exclusive representation like this, you should probably have a conversation with me or your broker in charge first, so that we can talk through that. So like I said, by default, the first option is going to be initialed, that the client is giving permission for you and the firm to act as a dual agent. Now, once they've initialed this and agreed to that, they now have the option to agree to the form of dual agency called designated agency. This allows, if let's say you're a buyer's agent and you show them a home listed by another choice residential agent, this allows you to continue representing them. Even though you're a dual agent, you can still fully represent that buyer, and the listing agent who is acting as a designated agent for the seller can still fully represent that seller. That's the beauty of designated agency. The big thing to remember is that if you know confidential information about the other party, you can no longer be a designated agent. That reverts you back to standard dual agency, or another person would have to represent that client. So for example, let's say you were showing a home listed by a choice residential agent and you happen to know that seller personally, and you know their motivations for moving, you know what price they may accept, that kind of thing. You could not represent your buyer as a designated agent. You would be a standard dual agent. It would automatically revert back to that standard dual agency because you know confidential information about the seller, about the other party in the transaction. So just kind of keep that in mind. But from a logistical standpoint, just remember, in order for a client to initial designated agency, meaning they agree to designated agency, they must also be initialing the dual agency. So don't turn in paperwork that only has this third blank initialed, okay? It either needs to be the first only, the second only, or the first and third, if that makes sense. And like I said, our default for our templates will be the first and third. And of course, if a client for one reason or another doesn't want that combination of options, you certainly can change that. Hopefully that sheds some light on it. If you have questions ever about dual agency or designated dual agency, please reach out. We want to make sure you're out there operating within the bounds of North Carolina rule. All right, thanks guys. Have a great day.